Okay, hi Facebook. It is not Tuesday at 10. It is Sunday at 12:40 now. And I just told Instagram. So what I'm going to do for you guys, I was hoping that I could just record my video and then post it, but I'm having technical difficulties as usual. So I'm just going to do a live video, and then I'm going to download the video and save the video, and then I'm going to post it again at Tuesday at 10. So you guys can get like an early sneak peek preview if you're here watching this. So. And if you're not, then it's already Tuesday at 10 and all of this is irrelevant. Let's move on, shall we? All right, so this week we are talking about compassion for others. And I debated about doing this one because we've been talking about self-compassion. Of course, that's not the same thing as compassion for others, but I felt like it was really important to touch on, especially when it comes to our kids. And I'll get to that at the end, so hang with me, because I think it's really, really important when it comes to our kids and how we talk to them and the kind of language that we use for them, or use with them, I guess. So first, I kind of wanted to define compassion, which we haven't exactly done yet. At least I don't think we have. Now my brain's like, maybe I did. Hopefully I didn't. Sympathy versus empathy versus compassion. What's the difference? So sympathy is understanding what a person's feeling. Like, you can be like, oh yeah, that's sad, that's hard. You feel it, but there's an emotional distance that happens there. You don't feel connected to them in the same way. Empathy is, here, hold on. Yeah, I'm reading my notes next to you, sorry. Empathy is actually feeling what another person is feeling, as opposed to just understanding it. You actually feel it. It's walking in another person's shoes. It's acknowledging, I really like this, I read this somewhere, it's acknowledging the shared human experience, which we've talked about a bit with compassion, but it's saying, we're all in this together, I feel what you feel, I know that this is hard. It's being able to really put yourself in their place. So compassion, I actually found two different definitions, and one of them doesn't seem to line up as much with the other things that I read online. All right, so let me read those out. One of them, the one that didn't seem to line up as much, was some sympathetic consciousness of another's distress to, nope, hold on. I'm going to come back to that one. Wrong order. The one that didn't seem to align was sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings and misfortune of others. And to me, that was more like sympathy. That sounded more like sympathy to me. The majority of what I read online lined up with this other definition, which was sympathetic consciousness of others' distress together with the desire to alleviate it. Most of what I was reading was compassion is love in action. And I really like thinking about it that way. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to go with that second definition and think of it as love in action. Understanding people's stress and distress, and then trying to make it better. Let me see what my notes are. Oh, another way they put it was suffering with someone. So it's not just feeling it, but being together with them and suffering with them. Not to your detriment necessarily, but just working together to make their life better, which sometimes causes distress on your end. You know, you've got to let go of other things in order to help them. So, all right, and the benefits. Step 2, the benefits of compassion for others. It's a lot like the self-compassion benefits that I talked about last week. You're happier helping others, and you're influencing them to do the same for other people. You have better health and you live longer. It counteracts depression and anxiety. And this one was interesting. It makes it feel like we have more time. That was one of the scientific benefits that came with compassion, like doing action for other people in good ways. So it's worth doing. It's worth putting effort towards having compassion to other people and working on practicing that. And a lot of what I was reading this morning was a good way to do that is to just being mindful, which is a whole nother thing. And I may do a talk eventually on meditation or being mindful and taking the time to put your brain in the right space. But the more you meditate and think about those things, the easier it is to have compassion for other people. And the more your brain looks for those opportunities. So, all right. The thing that I really wanted to talk about with this compassion for other people is having compassion for our kids. And what that looks like and what it sounds like, because that voice in our head that we've been talking about with the self-compassion stuff for the last 3 weeks, that inner critic, some kids, you know, everybody's prone to having a different sort of voice in their head. You know, my kids, everybody's different. So some kids are, the voice is just naturally more negative. The voice is naturally more mean. And other kids, the voice is naturally more positive. It just, it's what you're born with to a certain extent. However, I think as parents, the way we talk to our kids really impacts the trajectory that voice takes, you know. So it starts either down here, negative, or it starts, I guess this is flipped for you guys, whatever. It starts either as negative or positive, but you know, if we talk to our kids in a negative way, that positive voice is going to start veering more towards the negative. And if they have a negative voice and we talk to them in a positive way, that negative voice is going to start gearing more towards the positive. And I think as parents, we have a sometimes terrifying responsibility of talking to them in a way that makes their inner critic, that makes their inner voice the best that it can possibly be for them in the long run, you know, that we help train that voice to not be as critical, to be more self-compassionate. It's a big responsibility, and I think it is really difficult to do. And I was thinking about this. Part of the reason I ended up defining sympathy, empathy, and compassion was because how do you do this with your kids, right? It's not just, I want to reiterate that it's not just excusing their behavior or indulging them and not disciplining them and just saying, oh, it's okay, you know, it's no big deal. As we've talked about, self-compassion isn't that. Self-compassion isn't just letting yourself off the hook, but it's saying, I understand that this happens to everybody, and then moving forward and pushing yourself to become better. And I think that's what we have to do with kids, because really the long-term goal for us is not, it shouldn't be the short term. The long-term goal is raising decent human beings that can function as a part of society, making society a better place to be, right? That's a loose definition. I'm sure everybody has a different definition. Maybe that's something worth thinking about for you. What do I want for my kids? Where do I see my kids in 20 years? How do I start now to help them get there, right? So I wanted to give a couple of examples, because I think when kids are young in particular, you're really more in the behavioristic kind of disciplining, but your voice still matters to a certain extent. Behavioristic meaning, you know, they take this action, you're like, no, you can't do that. There's a natural consequence. There's a consequence that goes along with that action. It's like if you're trying to train a dog, you know, you bribe them with treats, or you have consequences if they do something they're not supposed to do. I know I'm comparing children to dogs, sorry. But when they're young, I think it's a lot of that, because you can't reason with them. They're not old enough for that. And so you have to go about it differently. However, I came up with an example from my life that I felt like illustrated this. So it was my daughter's 5th birthday. And birthdays in the past had always been, she just gets like, she gets so excited and so manic is the only word I have, that it's really hard for her to behave herself, or was really hard for her to behave herself. She just wants to do and think, and she doesn't think through things. She just, you know, starts doing, and she's chaos on wheels, that child. Anyway, and so after her 5th birthday, she'd gotten all the presents, right? Her birthday's in May, so she had gotten pool toys. One of them was like a big rubber bullet that you throw in the water, you know? It was shaped like a shark, but it's meant to go in the water, and it goes really fast through the water. But, you know, it's hard and it's heavy, and you can't throw that on land. Like, that is not what it is for. It is to throw in the water. And so she had thrown it once, and I said, we're not going to do that because it's dangerous, blah, 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 blah. You can't throw that. And then she picked it up, and she did it again. She threw it again. And it may have been a few seconds later. I don't know if she did it in outright defiance, but she definitely forgot and threw it again. Now, the sympathy response is, it's your birthday. It's hard. You know, it's okay. I feel sorry for you. I feel bad that you're having to make this difficult choice and you made the wrong choice. Okay. Empathy is saying, it's your birthday, boy, I can feel how you feel. I can feel the excitement and, you know, the inability to think through these things, and I really understand, and it's okay. And I think the compassion response is those things. You know, I mentally understand why you made this choice. I can feel what you feel. Like, I have felt that, the impulse and the difficulty, the wanting to do something, and the difficulty in controlling that action, right? But the compassion piece is, I love you, and we need to work on this together, because this behavior is not okay. It is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to make wrong choices. This is how we learn when we're doing things, but this isn't going to work. This is not okay. It's having that long-term goal in mind. It's having love and compassion to the point of talking kindly to them, but also saying, we need to raise you up into a decent human being, and this behavior is not how you get there. So let's work together to fix this. So, you know, in that instance, I gathered up all of her toys and she knew what I was doing. I used very little words because words back then didn't do a whole lot with her. Gathered up all her toys and she said, "Are you taking my toys?" And I said, "Yes, you can earn them back over the summer, but for now they're going away because you can't act like this. Like, this is not okay. Mistakes are okay, mistakes happen, but still not okay." And I always follow up all those conversations. If you're my kid, you know, like, do I always love you? Always, always is the answer. I always, always love you. It doesn't matter what you do. I will always love you, but this is still something we have to work through. And the piece that I like about the compassion approach to parenting when it comes to that, I'm training their inner voice. I'm training their inner critic to be firm but kind, not just indulgent, but still understanding and compassionate. Sorry, my brain is not working super well this morning. But the other thing that I really like about it when it comes to parent and kid is teamwork. It really focuses on the teamwork aspect of being with your child. We're going to work through this together. Is this my consequence to you? Yes. But I understand this is hard for you. I know this is difficult. My job as a parent is to do this part, but let's work together how to make sure this doesn't happen again. You know, what happened here with you? Why did you make that choice? How do we not do that next time? So if you take that younger kid example and translate it to an older kid, you know, a kid who brings home a bad grade, rather than being like, "You're stupid, how could you do this?" Or, you know, "Why can't you get better grades?" Or "Why can't you be like your sister?" Or whatever, all the horrible things that you could possibly say in that instance. You know, saying, "Did you try your best?" I mean, you guys know these terms. Did you try your best? Did you really go slowly? Did you double check your answers? You know, and if you did all those things, well, we're just going to keep trying. Do you want to do better? Is this something you want to do better at? Let's figure out how together to work towards that. And I'm proud of you if you did your best, for working hard, for studying. I see how you've been working on this, and it happens. Bad grades happen. Some things are harder for some than others, and you're really good at this in this area, and this is just a tougher thing that we're going to work on together, and it's going to be okay. But not leaving it as, "Oh, I understand that that's hard and that's it." It's, "I understand that it's hard, but let's move forward together as a team and make this better. How can I help you?" And that's the compassion piece of it. The how can I help you as a parent? Okay, I think that's all I had for today. That last one is really important to me because, and I've already said this, but because as parents we're in such a position to help our kids' inner critic, to help train them on how to think in a healthier way for the long term. And I think it is a huge privilege and a huge responsibility to be able to do that, and something that I'm still working on. But I just wanted to spend a minute to touch on that. Okay, so that ends this not Tuesday at 10, or if you're watching this on Tuesday at 10, that ends this Tuesday at 10. Next week, we're actually going to talk about the impact of social media on self-compassion, which I just came up with this morning, actually, but I think it's important. I had it in my notes of things to talk about, and I thought, oh, this ties in really well with self-compassion. So we're going to talk about how social media impacts that. If you are not in the group already, come join my group. And by the way, we've got more people, and I'm so excited that we have more people in our group. And I will see you guys in the group. And if you join the group, you have a chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card. And if you're already in the group, find the series Compassion in the pinned post, and that'll give you, if you participate in that, it'll give you another chance to win another $25 Amazon gift card. And I think right now there's only like 4 people entered, so your odds are pretty good there. So you should go check it out. Okay, I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you. I will be here next Tuesday at 10. I don't really have the date in my head. I think it is June. Hold on, I have it in my notes. June 5th. So I will see you guys June 5th for Tuesday at 10. Impact of social media on self-compassion. All right, that's it. Mwah. See you guys later. Let me end Facebook and live in